All right, shalom to elect Israel, to the hopeful elect Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, foreign Israelites that look like the other nations scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praise to Barak was shy. Barak was shy. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone. Let us all to this truth. Name of the Heavenly Father, everybody ultimately calls God. His true name in the ancient Hebrew, which is in the Rawchaa Qadash. His true name is Yahawah. Bahasham means in the name of. Yahawashi is the Holy One of Israel. Everybody ultimately calls Jesus Christ, who was slain at the foundations of the earth for the salvation of the elect of Israel. Then you got 2/3 of the wicked Israelites here in America, Babylon the Great. The other wicked Israelites scattered across the four corners of the earth that'll come back to the loins of the elect after the destruction. The Rawchaa Qadash, It's the Holy Spirit that has been bestowed upon the men. The Heavenly Father gave his only begotten Son out of the world to complete this work. So as we said before, we always want to give double honors to us and apostles, great millstone, let us all to this truth. Been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray fast, show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to also part of the elect and the hopeful elect. Lord, when we part of that number, Lord, when this be edifying else, we fear in the name of the Lord, striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah 3:5, it is not slack. 2 Peter 3:9, unto a ring. 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 42. Shalom. Now, I used to say believers out there tuning in here and on after Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa. We're going to get into back going into Exodus and the plagues of Egypt. That's what we were talking about yesterday. We finished off at chapter 7, and we're going to continue going into chapter 8, and going to keep going into more of these plagues. And Esau eating the so-called white man. The plagues that are coming upon this place are well deserved. You have a lot of people who are starting to agree with us more than what you know. And we're glad. We're glad that we're coming into a time that finally the prophets are being heard by the people they need to be heard from. And, the elect is being sealed. That's the purpose of us doing this work, is to be hopefully, useful enough for the elect to be edified. It's like you. So Lord willing, it's like you. Lord willing, is edifying to the flock. I just got off out of the plantation. We in the double Shabbat, and really we're not supposed to work on this day. But since we're in captivity, that is where I was at. You still got to make sure you take care of your business to make sure, as men, we're making sure this tabernacle stays firm. It's why we work, in all various ways. And we give everything that we got to this tabernacle, man, because we know that that's the only work that we have that is going to count. But let me get right here. Let me bring this over. We're going to get into this. We're going to go into the frogs. So we was talking about the plagues yesterday. So Lord willing, is edifying to the flock. We coming into, tonight we're able to eat leavened bread again, but I've been kind of in the spirit and just kind of thinking, even after, this 7 days, kind of not eating leavened bread has kind of been beneficial in many ways because, leavened bread is not really too healthy for us. And I've been kind of jumping into more to eating unleavened bread. It's a little bit more healthier for us. So, I'm not saying that I'm just going to be just eating unleavened bread, but I'm definitely going to cut back on eating leavened bread and eating things, because that's what the apostles been talking about. You want to be careful what you put in your body. So I'm going to go a lot more into, I've been doing more making salads. You have your meat with it or whatever, because we men, we're going to need some type of provision, especially us men who have a lot of work to do throughout the day. You're going to have your little small portion of meat or whatever, but we going more with, trying to stay on the healthy side, because all this food is jacked up, man. And, as people know me, as a young brother, I'm a pretty hype brother. Certain days, some days I'm more relaxed. But this is great times for Israel right now. And We trying to do everything we can to make sure we show the Most High that we gave this last go around in this wicked ass kingdom. We gave it our all. So Lord willing, we endure to the end, and we are those the elect. So starting right here, chapter 8, verse 1, frogs over the land. And the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, let my people go that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite thy borders with frogs, and the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, and into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, into the house of thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thine netting troughs. So these frogs is going to be everywhere. And the frogs shall come up both on thee and upon thy people and upon thy servants. And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause the frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. In Adoran, they say Aaron is Adoran, stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments. So see, we seeing that they did the frogs too. We was talking about yesterday how they were doing some of the enchantments that the Lord was doing. And the Lord's weren't enchantments; they were actually miracles and actually power. But the left-hand side has that power too. That's what we're showing you, that even on this side, coming into this day, that is how they're going to deceive the majority of Jake, because some of these things that the Lord can do, the Lord has allowed them to have these enchantments, okay, to come against Jake. But like I said, in Numbers 23:23, that no enchantment shall work against Jacob. What it's really saying is 2/3 of our people is going to get them on this side. They're going to believe in it. They're going to take it. But in the end of the day, their spirit is going to come back over here to the loins of the elect. It didn't completely work. Maybe it killed them on this side, but in the end, it didn't work, man. So no enchantment. If you are of the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you could die here, okay, and never understand the truth. And the enchantment will not completely cut you off from Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. You will come home. That's what it's saying. Ultimately, you will come back to your rightful place in Israel, whatever that is. That's a big part of the story. It said neither principalities, nor dominions, or anything will be able to keep Jacob from Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. But we're hoping, the hopeful elect, being prisoners of hope, we're hoping that we make it on this side, because this is where we want to be at, man. This is where we want to be. We don't want to be like the 2/3 and come in the kingdom later. We want to get there now. With the Most High, when they come back, that's the first fruits, and that's their spirit. That's what they long for, to be able to make it on this side. 2/3, of Israel and the other wicked Israelites in America, Babylon the Great, their desire is not to make it. That's just what it is. These are these lots, these destinies that have been casted out, and for them to be performed. And you don't get a choice, and I don't get a choice. It all comes down to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, whether we endure to the end. So verse 8, when Pharaoh called for Mashah and Adoran, like we were talking about yesterday, and said, entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me, basically saying, basically go and make a sacrifice unto the Lord so they can get the fuck out of here, because it was that bad. Even though he hardened Pharaoh's heart when he was going through this, he was like, man, please get this shit out of here, man. Because it was that fucking bad. Just some damn frogs. And you got to understand, like, this might have not been no regular ass frogs. Because, you know, you got in the wilderness, or you got in Amazon, you got some frogs that spit acid and shit. Who knows what type of fucking frogs these motherfuckers was, man. We're talking about a plague from the Most High. So he said, please take away these damn frogs, man. Because if it was just some regular ass, weak ass frogs, they would have been like, all right, whatever, bro. But these are some goddamn frogs, man. These are some probably some demon ass frogs on their ass. So he went and talked to Moses, please get these frogs out of here, man. And from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto the Lord. And Mashah said unto Pharaoh, glory over me, when I shall entreat for thee, and for thy servants, and for thy people, to destroy the frogs from thee and thy houses, that they may remain in the river only. And he said, tomorrow, right? And he said, be it according to thy word, that thou mayest know that there is none like unto the Lord our power, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. And the frogs shall depart from thee. He's like, basically, you got to vow that, you know, our power is stronger than all of your gods. And the frogs shall depart from thee, and from thy houses, and from thy servants, and from thy people. They shall remain in the river only. So he said, I'll send them back to the rivers. And Moses and Mashah and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Mashah cried unto the Lord because of the frogs, which he had brought against Pharaoh. So even though he bring the frogs, there's still order. He bring that plague by Yahawashi. And he had to still go and cry unto the Lord, hey, you got to get these frogs out of here, because he promised that he would let us go. But the Lord already told Moses that he wasn't going to hearken. So he already knew. But what did Moses do? He had faith and did exactly what Yahawashi told him to do. And that's the kind of faith that we have to have, you know, like Mashah did. We have to have that faith that even if the Lord tell you to do something that you're not sure of, or that you're not 100% understanding, you need to do that, man, to make sure that, you know, you stick with, you know, prophecy, because there's a prophecy that has to play out, man. And he did that. So according to the word of Mashah, said, and the Lord did according to the word of Mashah, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the villages, and out of the fields, and they gathered them together upon heaps, and the land stank. So even though they got rid of all these frogs, the land stank. So they still kind of had to deal with some stuff after that, man. It was that many frogs. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, and when you look up that word respite, it means relief. This is a point I want to make. Soon as he saw it, as soon as Pharaoh saw that there was relief to him and his people, he hardened his heart, which is talking about his mind, and hearkened not unto them as the Lord has said. And that's how these Egyptians are today. That's why every time we bring the plagues on this place, you got stuff like, you know, the 9/11, you got the COVID, you got all this stuff. As soon as they get relief, they back to their wickedness. They will not give up until the very end. That's why we know. That's what we know. So the plagues of the insects, and the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And you know, that's how it is now. A lot of these Edomites, they got lice all in their beds and all over their ass and shit. They don't be talking about it. But a lot of these Edomites be dealing with lice. That plague is even here today. And they did so, and Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and smote the dust of the earth, right? And it became lice in man and in beast. So even a beast dealt with it. And all the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. You know, that's how many lice there was. it was equivalent to the dust. So it's like, that's a plague, man. And the magicians did so with their enchantments. See, they was able to do it too. They was able to bring the lice up, to bring forth lice Or actually, it says, and the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lights, but they could not. This is where I want to make the point. This is where they couldn't keep up with Yahawashi, and that's how it's going to be with Esau, even so-called white man. They're not going to be able to keep up. They're going to be able to do a little bit of enchantments, weather manipulation. They're going to be able to do certain things with AI, but they're going to get to a point where the Lord does some shit, and they're like, I can't fucking do that. We can't do that shit. Okay? With their science, their pseudoscience, they're not going to be able to keep up, man. And that's what we're seeing right now. The Lord has gave them abilities to use certain enchantments to mimic the Most High, but they have a cutoff. Okay? And their cutoff today will be the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the RFDI chip, the grain of rice you put in your right hand and forehead. Past that, they're not going to be able to use any more enchantments to mimic what the Most High is doing. Okay? They're not going to be able to mimic it artificially, because that's what they're doing. They're doing artificial enchantments. And that's what they've been doing even last time in Egypt. Okay? And this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt over here, Revelation 11:8. So we know that they're doing the same thing here, man. Okay? So, and upon beasts, right? It said, but they couldn't bring the lice. So there were lice upon man and upon beasts. And the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of the Most High. And Pharaoh's heart, which is his mind, was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them as the Lord has said. So he already knew. Going down, verse 20. And the Lord said unto Moshe, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh. And it says, lo, he cometh forth to the water, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. Right? Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and upon or into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon there are a lot of swine, a lot of flies. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen. Right? Basically, he made it where Moshe's father-in-law, where he met his wife Zipporah, he made it where it was going to be cut off, where they didn't have to deal with it. And that's kind of how it is over here, how it's going to be in Jacob's trouble. You're going to have the elect, where he's going to cut off portions of wherever the elect are. Wherever they're at, you're going to have that, that. Not saying you ain't going to struggle, because we're going to struggle, but there's going to be portions of type of certain things going on here in Babylon, and you're not going to have to deal with that. You might be dealing with stuff, because that's how it was in old Egypt. They were still dealing with stuff. They were still dealing with double labor and all types of stuff, but they wasn't facing as much as horrible as other plagues that were in other parts of Egypt. And that's how it is here in America, Babylon the Great. That's why we're able to get online and we see, for example, over here in Oklahoma, 170 miles of acres of land was burned up, but we don't see it burned up over here. But we still suffering. We still going through stuff over here. We still having to make ends meet. And that's how it's going to be for the elect, man. The Lord is going to protect his elect, though, man, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there. So we be hearing about shit getting set on fire, hurricanes, all types of stuff. Even when I was in the ATL in Atlanta, it was all types of hurricanes. Brothers didn't have to see all that. They was good. I was good too. And they had it on the. I remember when I was at the bus station, I looked on the phone and I was in the red zone. They was like, it's supposed to hit right here. And nothing happened. Nothing. It was actually quiet wind. I was like, the fuck? What the hell is this? That's Yahawashi protecting his prophets. To the end, says no swarms of flies shall be there. To the end thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. and I'll put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. And that's what the Lord is doing right now. He's putting a division between us and everybody else to this truth. Verse 24. And the Lord did so, and there came a grievous swarm of flies unto the house of Pharaoh and into the servants' houses and into the land, into all the land of Egypt. And the land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of the flies. And Pharaoh called for Moses, for Rawchaa and Aaron, and said, Go ye, sacrifice to your power in the land. Because he knew that there's a rule, there's order. We send you a plague, we have to go sacrifice to the Most High to get the plague off of you. We can't just say, Lord, stop. Like, there's order to this, man. So what you think now that we sending up prayers and curses on this place, and he telling us not to ask him to take them off? You think it's going to be some easy ass plagues? No. And these plagues are not going to return. We're not going to call them off. So that's why we be telling you as prophets, we be telling these people out here, watch how you talking to us, man. Watch how you talking to us. Watch how you talking to us. Because we're really the prophets. We're not playing, bro. Watch how you talking to us. And that's saying anybody out here who thinks we're not the prophets, watch how you talking to us. Watch how you think about us. Watch how you breathe around us. Because we're really not playing. We're really here and born here to send judgment to this place. Okay? That's what our job is, to send judgment here. Okay? That's our job. Verse 26 of Rawchaa said, is it not meet to do so? And that's like MEET, which is saying, like, is it not useful to, so to do? For we will sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to the Lord our power, right? Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes? And will they not stone us? That's why we don't be trying to do a stuff. And what he's basically saying is, if we try to do a sacrifice unto the Lord in front of these heathens, in a sense where they're able to just spot us out and see us doing it, they'll put us to death, man. So that's why the Lord said, go in your closet. He said, go in your private place and do what? Make your sacrifice unto the Lord, which is us today. We're being a sacrifice unto the Lord by doing what? Putting all our time in this truth, making sure we sending out prayers, curses on this place. We're making sure that we doing everything that we got to do to make sure that we are in line with helping the Lord, the Lord's coming, and that's part of prophecy, that we would cry out because of our oppressors, as it says in Isaiah, the 19th chapter. Okay, around the 19th verse, it said we would cry out because of our oppressors. We doing that this time too. It's the same story, but just way vaster scale. And, and we will go 3 days journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our power as he shall command us. So he said, let us go out to the wilderness. He said, we'll come back, because he knew that the Lord wasn't done putting judgments on Israel. So he knew what he did as he commanded. He didn't try to run. And that's why you see us here and as Israelites, we're not running from our captivity. We're staying here. You got all these Israelites trying to run out of Babylon the Great. We're staying here, okay? Because the Lord wants to finish judging this place, and he can't do that unless we're what? Being oppressed. That's part of him coming and bringing the judgments. We have to have been oppressed here for him to finish out his course. Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that ye may sacrifice unto the Lord your power in the wilderness, only ye shall not go very far away. Entreat for me. See, he said, don't go too far. And Rawchaa said, behold, I will go out from thee, and I will entreat the Lord that the swarm of the flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. But let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully anymore, not letting the people go to sacrifice to the Lord. And he knew he was going to do it. He knew he wasn't going he wasn't going to let us go. But that shows you how much faith that Mashah had in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. He had this kind of like, he had this confidence in him. Like, you have no idea. I already know the end of the story, bro. Like, that's how he was talking to Esau. And Mashah went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord. And the Lord did according to the word of Moses, or Mashah, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, from his people, and there remained not one. And you know how, like, over here and even in over here in weak ass Babylon the Great, we know that throughout time, it says that ages and through age things have been weakened. And they have over here, they got them called horse flies, and they're bigger than regular flies. And what do? They bite you. So think about a plague coming from the Lord on some people that he don't like, and he sent those flies. Them motherfuckers was probably bigger than horse flies, and they bit way worse, and they probably was like, some of them was probably poisonous and all types of shit, man. So that's what they don't want to put out. They don't want to really bring out to you, like, the severity of these plagues, man. Who knows how wicked Egypt was in that time, and how drastic these plagues were, because the scripture only brings justice in a sense where you can kind of picture it, but it's way different if you were there. That's why you have Pharaoh, even though the Lord hardened his heart, he was begging Mashah. He was like, man, please get this shit out of here, man. Please, bro. I don't even know why I'm beefing with you, bro. Just please. Like, I swear, man. The Esau Edom has the worst role ever, man. Because the Lord's going to make him do it, just like he did with the Hamites, the so-called Africans back in that day. Because that's really who the Egyptians were in that time. And really, if you want to get specific, it was the Ethiopians. But they're like a branch of Hamites. You got Put, which is another branch of them, and then you got Nimrod was kind of with the Ethiopians because they built the first Tower of Babel, and then you have the Cushites. You have different regions of them, but really we're dealing with the Ethiopians right now. Egyptian cattle died. Then the Lord said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh and tell him, thus saith the Lord Yahawashi, the Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let them go and wilt hold them still, behold, the hand of the Lord upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses and upon the asses and upon the camels and upon the oxen and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murrain, right? They basically die. And the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that is the children of Israel. See? So he made sure that even in those plagues we were protected, and that's what he's doing for the elect today. Abaratazah, we are that number. Verse 9, the Lord appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow, Salakia, tomorrow the Lord shall do this thing in the land. And the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. And that's how it's going to be with the elect, And, it says that, some of us are going to be beheaded and whatnot for the truth, as some of us as soldiers in this truth, prophets. But when it comes to the honorable multitude, men, women, and children, and the ones, because it says that some of them, will die in the faith, but what it means like is, how I see it, spiritually, when it says, not one, you're not going to really die after you die. You're going to be resurrected. Just like Yahawashi was, you're going to be back and immortal and a better body, a new body. So, and that's going to be our ultimate phase of putting off the old man and the old woman. You know, the women putting off the old woman, man putting off the old man, child putting off the old child as Israelites. That's going to be that final phase. Is, you know, if we do die here, or if you are still alive, by the time we get to the chariots, it's going to be a twinkling of an eye at the last trump, and you're going to be raised. You're going to be raised incorruptible, you know, but the first that's going to rise up are the ones who died in Yahawashi. Then it'll be them next. And then we'll all meet with the Most High in the air for what? The marriage. That's why it talks about a marriage. Okay? That's talking about becoming mortal with Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. So, and Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was, like I said, the plague of the boils. And the plague of the boils, you know, that's something that's going to come back to the MOTB. This is another way you can kind of tie in Egypt with this place. Okay, it's in Revelation, the 16th chapter. Okay, so back then it was something that happened to him as a plague. You know, but you know, going into the day, it's going to be the MOTB that bring back that plague. Okay, in America, Babylon the Great is going to be the main one to bring the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the grain of rice you put in your right hand and forehead. You know, you got your credit card, and it's got the RIDF chip in it. And in some stores, you can go there, right? You can go there and you can just take it. You can take the your card and you can just put it over the sensor and it just beep. Okay, they want to take that and put it in your hand. So when you put your hand over that thing, it beeps. That's the MOTB, man. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, there's no other way around that. That is what the mark of the beast is. And if you don't think it is, go ahead and take that shit. So verse 1, Revelation chapter 16, verse 1, we're seeing all the way in Exodus. We're seeing a grievous sore all the way over here in Revelation. Okay? To let you know that this place is what? Like I said in Revelation chapter 11, verse 8, spiritually Sodom and Egypt. A lot of these plagues are coming on this place that came in that time and more. Revelation 16, verse 1, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, right, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth, right, judgment. Verse 2, and the first went and poured his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore, like a cancer, boils, just like back then in old Egypt, but worse, upon the men which had what? The mark. And when you look up that word mark, it means kataragma, okay, in the Greek, kataragma, and it means an incision, okay, the mark of the beast, okay, and the beast is talking about NATO in the EU, okay, the power system that is able to implement currency, okay, and upon them which worshipped his image, right, all these people who worshiped the ideology of this place, okay, and the philosophies and the doctrines, and you know, you get what I'm saying. So back to the plagues of the boils, we're gonna read down through chapter 9, and then we're gonna get out of here. We're not gonna try to keep you too long. Exodus chapter 9, verse 8, and the Lord said unto Moses and unto Aaron, take to you handful of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. Okay, Salakia. So he took some ashes and he just sprinkled it toward the sky. Okay. He just sprinkled it in front of him. Like, guess what? Y'all motherfuckers is finna go through some shit. Verse 9, it became a small dust in all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon them, upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Egypt. And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Mashah sprinkled it up toward heaven and it became a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast. And that's why it even says over here in the New Testament, it says the Lord came to cut off man and beast. He's going to do it the same way he did it over there. Verse 11, because, you got, Esau, some of them, they love their beasts. You got Esau, some of them, they be sleeping with their damn animals and putting Christmas suits on them and shit. So he said, I'm going to fuck y'all up too, because y'all been Babyloned out. Fuck y'all up too. Verse 11, and the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils. So this time they couldn't even try to do the enchantment. They was like, we're trying to fix our shit. Okay. This is when they were like, damn, okay, we can't handle this shit. For the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh. He still hardened his mind, basically talking about his mind. And he hearkened not unto them as the Lord had spoken unto Moshe. So Moshe already knew. So that's how we know, like we did that lesson yesterday, it said, we know they're not going to give up all the way to the end. And that's why when you look at Revelation, it says that there's people who neither repented of any of their sins, nor their revilings, nor anything. They just never repented. That's how they're going to do this time. Okay? So we have to endure to the end, because they're not gonna let up. Okay? Now you're gonna have your Jesus Christ Edomites, and they're gonna be like, we're sorry. But as soon as they realize they ass is through, they're gonna be the same way. And the Lord said unto Moshe, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say unto them, thus saith the Lord, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi of the Hebrews, let my people go, they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thine heart, which is mine, and upon thy servants and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth. For now I will stretch out my hand, and I will smite thee, thee and thy people with pestilence, stuff like COVID. In this time, thou shalt be cut off from the earth. Every deed for this cause I have raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. So America Babylon the Great runs the earth right now, okay? So that's why the Lord raised up America Babylon the Great as the new Pharaoh, so he could show his power when he does what? Destroys their ass, just like he did with the Hamites, so-called Africans in that time, okay? Throughout all the earth, because Egypt was known. They were known throughout, that the East. They were known as a power structure that nobody could take over. And the Lord, showed his power like that. As yet exhausted thyself against my people, that thou would not let them go. Right? Now he just said to hell, behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause to rain a very grievous hail, such as have not been in Egypt since the foundation thereof, even until now. You see? So there were some plagues that happened in Egypt that actually were so horrible. Some of them we haven't even seen right now. But it's going to come to the point where when Jacob's trouble come, it might not even be, this grievous hail. It might actually be doubled. It might actually be worse, okay, than now, okay? So you got to really have some fear. You got Bahasham Yahawashi, man, because he's finna really send some shit here, man. Send therefore now and gather thy cattle and all that thou hast in the field, for upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field, and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. Right? And you're going to find out that even over here, we talking about what? Missiles is hitting this place, and there's going to be some jakes that don't even give a fuck, and they're still going to stay out here, man. And it's just like now. We're going to show you. So, he that feared the word of the Lord among the servants of Pharaoh, right? Because you had some people who weren't even, they were leaders, of Egypt, and They feared the Lord still. Even some of the heathen, they feared the Lord. It was like, fuck that. We gonna get the fuck down, right? Among the servants of Pharaoh, and made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. He said, go in the house. And he that regarded not the word of the Lord left his servants and his cattle in the field. That's how it's gonna be today. You're gonna have some Jakes. They're not thinking about the danger coming. They ain't thinking about the missiles coming. Esau Edom gonna tell their ass, take your ass out there. I'm still trying to make some money. You know, Mr. Krabs gonna tell him, go out there. And Jake 2/3 ass gonna go out there, man. Because he don't got no fear of the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth thine hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched out his rod toward heaven, in Marshah, stretched out forth his rod towards heaven, and the Lord sent a thunder and hail, and the fire ran upon the ground, and the Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. See? And that's how he's going to do here. He's going to do all types of stuff to America, Babylon the Great, that they've never seen. They've never witnessed. And the Lord's doing it right now. And you got to remember that some of these enchantments, even Esau did. You know, some of these enchantments, these hurricanes and weather manipulation and doing stuff to the GMO food, these are all enchantments, man. But they can only get to so far, man. They can only get to so far. They can't take a spirit and put it in a damn robot. You know, they can't go that far. That's how we know they're going to lose. So, in the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail smote every herb of the field and break every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. So that's how it's going to be. You be a person in Jacob's trouble, and you out here, and the Lord dealing with you. You might look right down the street, and it's just raining hail like a motherfucker. It's something, you know what I'm saying? Something crazy going on over there. But where you at, you straight. And that's how it's going to be over here in Jacob's trouble, because he ain't going to, when it said all the people, it's talking about all the wicked, not the elect. Even in this time, the elect was being protected. And Pharaoh sent and called for Marshah and Adran and said unto them, I have sinned this time. The Lord is righteous, and my people are wicked. He started to, even though the Lord's hearting him, he's like, all right, I'm getting it. I'm fucking up, bro. But that's his job. Entreat the Lord, for it is enough that there may be no more mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go, and ye shall stay no longer. He was like, please pray to the Lord, get this shit out of here. Once again, Moses said unto him, as soon as I am gone out of the city. And see, even Moses was there. He was there where all the hail was just dropping down. Like they tried to make it seem like Moses wasn't in the mix, and Marshall wasn't in the mix. He was right there. How was he going to talk to Pharaoh? He couldn't have been in the land of Goshen. He had to be over there in Egypt watching shit getting fucked up. Wherever he was at, it wasn't getting fucked up at. And that's why he was getting fucked up. He was like, wherever Moses is out here, go. Marshall is out here, go get him. Okay, so we can get this shit out of here. Okay, they didn't show you that in the movies. So I will spread upon my hands unto the Lord, and the thunder shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know that the earth is the Lord's. But as for thee and thy servants, I know that you will not fear the Lord, Yahawah, Bahasham, and Yahawashi. So he even got to the point where he said, I'm going to take it off, but I know your ass ain't going to listen, man, because you got to finish getting these judgments. And the flax and the barley was smitten, and the barley was in the ear, and the flax was bald. And BOLLED, like bold. But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up. So a lot of basically a lot of stuff got destroyed because it was already harvested and coming up. But some stuff didn't get destroyed, so they still had a little bit of food. That's what it's saying. And Mashah went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread abroad his hands unto the Lord, and the thunders of hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more and hardened his heart, which is his mind, and his servants. And the mind of Pharaoh, which is his heart, was hardened. Neither will he let the children of Israel go, as the Lord had spoken by Mashah. So, we're going to stop right there. We did another couple more chapters. I want to go into just the plagues and just mention some things. That's it. Maybe go into some precepts, but we just kind of just reading. Because that's been kind of like, the spirit on the apostles. They just been kind of like, go in and read this stuff again, And it's definitely inspiring to read it again, because you can kind of compare it to a lot of stuff that we're dealing with right now, kind of facing being here in Egypt again, and seeing how we know that at the end of the day, Esau Edom is not going to give up, man. He is going to dance this dance, okay? And we got to make sure that we're, dancing our dance, that dance of faith, that garments of praise. We continue to praise the Lord, even though he tries to use all these different enchantments to make us look like the enemy, and that's what he's going to try to do. And he's trying to do it to us, the prophets, the most, because he knows that we're the most influential. We're the ones who are going to bring people to that stance of, steadfastness, because the Most High is working through us. So, hey, Lord willing us edifying to the flock. Shalom to elect Israel, hopefully elect Israel, Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, foreigners, elected the nations, scarecrows, folk comes to earth. Want to give our praise to Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give our praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honor sales and apostles of great millstone, let us all to his truth. Peace and blessing to the elect. Kwame Yasharala, Lord willing, edifying. Wa Ababa Baal. Shalom.